Hello everybody and welcome back. Thank you ever so very much for joining me. I'm Count Christo and this is Aurora 4X, sometimes referred to as the Dwarf Fortress of Space. This is kind of like, this is to Stellaris as Mayo and Taxes is to EU4. That's how I like to refer to it. And it's a fantastically good fun and complicated in some ways, but in some ways kind of simple. Simple but complicated isn't the right phrase. It's not massively deep in some ways, but it is quite complicated. I think it might be a relatively fair way to put it. Some systems are quite simple. So, we've started a new game, and I'm going to play, and this will serve a little bit as a kind of tutorial, in that I'm going to explain why I'm doing things as I do them. But I'm not going to go kind of super deep into any of the mechanics at the beginning. We're just going to dive in. It's a great game. I highly recommend you check it out. I have made some mods for this game. Only graphical mods, because the creator doesn't want anyone to create non-graphical mods. Fair enough. That's their right. But yeah, here's the game. I'm going to capture my main screen. There will be windows, like the events window, for example. I tend to put up on another screen. This game is actually the reason why I bought myself additional monitors. But I'll bring them on screen when there's something particularly relevant. So, first off, let's talk about what the situation is. So as you can see, the year is 2025. And humanity has just discovered these things called trans-Newtonian elements. Here they are. Deuterium, newtonium, carbamide, tritanium, borondide, macassium, I've never had to say this out loud before. Venderate, thorium, uridium, corundium, and gallicite. And these new materials are going to allow us to do incredible things. We're going to reach for the stars. And as you can see here, we have our solar system. Obviously, here's Earth, and it's all to scale, which is one of the things that's cool about this game. So, here's Luna, here's Earth, and if we zoom out, we can see we've got some, asteroids and planets and moons and comets and all that stuff flying around the place. Let's center our camera on Sol. Now, one thing I do want to change on here is, I forget where it is. Is it miscellaneous? Is it display? I wanted to show events. There we go, events. So it'll show us, the game is moved in increments of 5 seconds, 30 seconds, 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 20 minutes an hour, 3 hours, 8 hours, 1 day, 5 days, or 30 days. Basically, normally, you go in 5-day increments, which is every 5 days is kind of like one tick for production, basically. But when you're in battle, you might well go 5 seconds, because things move real quick when you're in battle. There will not be any battling today. It's a long game. That's for damn sure. So the first thing we need to do, let me explain the premise here a little bit. So if I hit new game, I think it'll open this stuff up. Yeah. So we are playing, I hope this is just what it auto-generates, but I'm pretty sure we're not playing with any non-player races. So we're playing with 1,000 systems, which is far more than we'll need. The construction cycle is 430,000, which I believe is in seconds, which is 5 days. It's normal difficulty modifier. Hang on. Sorry, if I do this, it'll show us our actual settings. Yeah. We're playing on normal difficulty modifier, but 20% research speed. So we research stuff 5 times slower than base. I like that, because otherwise you're kind of constantly overhauling your spaceships. The game is all about, not all about, but a lot of the game is about inventing new and better spaceships so that we can go out and colonize more ships and more systems and defend our growing empire and bring minerals and things back home or to outposts that we build. And you have to overhaul ships. I mean, you don't have to, but it makes sense to overhaul ships when you get new technologies, especially things like new engine technologies. And I find on normal research speed, you do it way too many times. You end up overhauling your ship constantly. So if you're following along, I recommend you put your research speed on 20%. Terraforming and survey speed are normal, and NPR generation is 20%. So that means that if we find a planet which is habitable, then there is a 20% chance that that planet will have a non-player race. That means another empire just like ours. And when we find them, they will get spawned at a kind of similar-ish strength and tech level to us, and then, you know, suffer not the Xeno to live is more or less what happens next. I've made it so that NPRs can't generate other NPRs, because then it gets fractal and you have problems. There's a 20% chance you find ruins of an ancient galactic civilization on similar bodies. And yeah, a bunch of this stuff is fairly normal. What I have done is, so there's non-player races, right? Those are like, consider those like the other players in Stellaris, the other AI. But then there's other things. So there's precursors, invaders, star swarm, rakas, and ether raiders. And if we look here, so the precursors are ancient robotic controlled ships guarding ancient ruins. Dangerous, they're one of the ancient races. So these are like century wards basically left behind by an ancient civilization. They have good tech levels, but they don't ever build or expand or repair or move outside of their initial system. They defend ruins, and you often want to get to ruins because ruins can have like tech bonuses and stuff hiding within them. Invaders are like the, oh gosh, what are they called? What are the extra dimensional invaders in Stellaris called? How have I forgotten? But anyway, the extra dimensional invaders that just want to destroy everything. The Star Swarm are kind of like the, is it called the Praetorians or the Tyranids? They're basically Tyranids. Then you've got the Rakas, which are basically orcs. They're not spacefaring, but they do have weapons to fight on one planet. And then Ether Raiders, these are basically the Dark Eldar. Lots of stuff in this game is at least somewhat Warhammer 40k inspired. NPRs do not generate those things. I should probably actually, you know what, yeah. NPR should encounter raiders. So meaning that not only we will be raided by them, but I don't want them to generate these things. We don't have limited research administration. Unbidden. Thank you, Gandalf. I appreciate it. We're live on Twitch, by the way, YouTube. Yes, civilian shipping lines are active, which means that not only we move stuff around our empire, but the civilian sector will do it as well. If you ever play this game and you experience slowdown, turn on Space Master by pressing this button here, and then just go into your ship's view, which is this one, fleet's view here, and just delete the civilians. Civilians generate 95% of the lag in this game. There's almost no lag without civilians, which is amazing. So when we start getting lag, I'll just delete a bunch of civilian shipping. I don't want to have it off all the way because it makes managing the game way easier. Hey Duke, glad you're happy. Delete the civilians, just the civilian, ships. We get new conquests, tech from conquest, eccentric orbits, so orbits don't have to be perfect circles around the sun. Gas giants have a gravitational effect on other planets, and there's a 1 second sub pulse. So it says 5 seconds, but it actually does calculate each of the 5 individual pulses. So this is Solitarium, which I think means something like builders. I forget. What did I call it? Solitarium. I think solitar or solitus or something was Latin for something. I always name my games after random Latin words. Anyway, I've played a lot of this game, probably, I don't know, at least 200 hours or something. I would not say I'm good by any stretch of the imagination. What we've not done is that, if we look at the star map here, so here's Sol, right? There's all these other systems out there. By default, the way that you tend to play, like the classic way of playing, is to have a non-player race out there that's doing all the same stuff as you, starting in a very similar position to you, and expanding out and researching and all that stuff. I don't do that for 2 reasons. One, I'm very confident that I'm much worse than the basic AI, so the AI would just stomp me. And 2, all the calculations related to the AI's civilian sector and the AI ships moving around, the AI making decisions, slows the game down. So I'd rather have a game where we spawn in non-player races when we find them, so it kind of simulates the idea that they've been there all along, but we don't have to deal with the lag that would come from them having been there all along. Okay, so all this talk about space and things, but we're going to start off in a very mundane way. So this is the main screen through which you interface with the game. We've got summary, industry, mining, shipyard tasks, research, ground unit, training, wealth and trade, civilians, ground units and stockpiles, environment, governor, mining, and ancient constructs. So first off, here's our planet. What have we got on our planet? We got 1,000 million people, also known as a billion people. 58 million of them currently work in services in agriculture and environmental. 700 million of them work in service industries. 250 million work in manufacturing, which leaves us with 151.25 million currently unemployed. Because of the manufacturing, 2,000. The manufacturing, by the way, means all jobs that you can actually give them. All the jobs that actually exist are in the manufacturing sector. Excuse me. What was I saying? Yeah, all the jobs that actually exist are in the manufacturing sector. So right now we're employing 80 million industrial workers, 16 million scientists, 1 million ground force, 1 million spaceport, 0.5 million shipyard, 0.25 maintenance, and we have 151 million available. Now we can see, if we look at the top here, that the planet suitability, or the colony cost on this planet, is 0.000. That means perfectly habitable. That means in order to have people live on this planet, you don't have to have any infrastructure. In order to inhabit Luna, for example, you would need to have a certain amount of infrastructure. I believe Luna has a habitability of 2, a colony cost, rather, of 2. And at 2, I think that means for each 1 infrastructure, you can have 20,000 people, something like that. Basically, what you want to do is usually, at least often the way I play anyway, is try and terraform planets so they have lower colony costs, which means you can then inhabit them more freely. Often that's a financially bad decision, but anyway, we'll get to that. So early on, what do we want to do? We want to use the fact that we've got this conventional industry. We've got 1,600 conventional industry, and we've got these 16 research facilities. So let's put those to work. Right now, we're building 2 more research facilities. That's what I decided to start out with doing. And on research, we're going to research these new trans-Newtonian stuff. So trans-Newtonian technology. So scientists, as you can see, we've got names of scientists, specialization, their bonus, and the maximum labs. So we have 16 labs, which means we can research, if we want to do 16 different technologies at once, or we could research one tech with 16 labs, and it will go 16 times faster. Each lab generates a certain amount of research every 5 days. Then you multiply that amount of research by the bonus of the scientists. So for example, let's say we had Ezekiel Stubbs here researching trans-Newtonian technology. He has a 25% bonus, which means that we would just increase the research output of those labs, and he can only handle 10 labs at once. But he would increase the output of those 10 labs by 25%, so it'd be as if you had 12.5 labs. Good. But he's specialized in logistics, right? So if he was working on logistics project, then it would increase it instead by 4 times his bonus, so 100%. You'd be getting the equivalent of having 20 labs. So having people who are specialized in different areas is really, really helpful. Sadly, we have no one who is specialized in construction and production, which you can see if you check matching scientist. So instead, we're going to use Saul Thule here. Hey, Thule. It's a good name from Warhammer. I believe I've set it up. Yeah, there we got Sicarius and Kurz, and however you meant to say his name, and Omegas. But yeah, I've set it up so that all the naming lists in the game that are auto-generated are all kind of Warhammer 40k themed. So we're going to use this guy with all 16 labs to research trans-Newtonian technology. So you could create project, and there we go. So he can handle another 4 labs potentially, and we're going to build him. Some more labs, but it's going to take a while. To build these 2 labs is going to take, oh my god, it's going to take 2 years. That's so bad. But yeah, because right now we have conventional construction facilities. As soon as we get this tech done, which will happen in 31, we're going to be able to build proper construction facilities, which will be much, much more powerful. They're like 10x more powerful or something like that. And once we do that, we'll start converting over our existing construction facilities into other things like fuel refineries and modern production facilities and all that stuff. Then we want to look at our shipyards. So right now we have 2 shipyards. One's naval and one's commercial. The difference is that let's take a look at how engines work briefly. I know this is not a comprehensive tutorial. Those already exist, but I'm just going to show things as they become relevant. So these are all the different things that you can invent to put on ships. So fire control, cloaking devices, engines, cannons, lasers, magazines, maison cannons, etc., etc. So engines. Engines have a certain amount of engine power. 100% engine power means you get the amount of engine power per unit of size that this tech level allows. So at the conventional engine level, 100% fuel power means per hull size, per 10 hull size, well, per 1 hull size, you get 1 engine power. It's worth noting that this game is very realistic, but it does work with, it has non-Newtonian space travel. So if you have an engine of a certain power, that's going to give you a top speed, not a rate of acceleration. So it's like friction exists, basically, in this world. in space, that is to say. So your ships will have a top speed, not just an ability to accelerate. But anyway, let's say you went from 100% engine power to 50%, right? You're getting half as much power for the same size engine. That seems really bad, right? But it's going to use only 0.18 times as much fuel. So obviously that's a huge reduction in the amount of fuel, more than a 5 times reduction in the amount of fuel for only half the reduction in engine power. Any engine with 50% engine power or less is classed as commercial. So if you're large ships, they don't have to go quite as fast. They don't have to be quite as sleek and small. You want to make them commercial ships. Commercial shipyards can also build much larger ships much faster and much cheaper, because obviously those more efficient engines are cheaper and easier to build. And you need your naval engines for military ships typically. So you want ships that really need to be able to move around fast. They want to be able to evade enemy fighters, enemy missiles, enemy fire. They want to be able to keep at a range that's conducive to their class, and all that stuff. So what I'm doing right now is I'm dramatically increasing the size of the 2 shipyards. You start with one at 1,000, one at 10. We're increasing the one at 10 to 50, and we're increasing the one at 1 to 6. Okay, I think that's everything. Yeah, we have a certain amount of wealth at the moment. Yeah, I think that's everything I want to do right now. We don't have any ships. This is where we will see our fleets in the future. Right now you can see we have it organized into a bunch of fleets, but there's nothing actually in them. And there is a commercial shipping company here, a civilian shipping company, which we will hide, but it actually doesn't have any actual ships. So right now we'll just go forwards 5 days, and you will note that nothing happens. So we're going to actually turn on auto turns and then hit this, and it's going to cycle through. And as you can see, if I bring the events thing over, it cycles through the days really, really quickly. And yeah, some stuff's happened. The production bonus of some particular guy has been increased to 10%. This guy has received some crew training bonuses, stuff like that. But these are things that don't really matter, so they don't automatically pause the game. One thing realized I've forgotten to do, we should set a governor on Earth, and we'll set automatic assignment. 0 is low importance, so Earth is going to get a 9 level level 9 importance for the planet. And we're going to say the most important thing right now is mining. The second most important thing is production. And the third most important thing is probably population growth. And so here we go. It's found someone who fits these bonuses. So he's this guy, Sibius Stubbs. He's 26 in excellent health. Hell yeah. It's me, baby. And he's got 25% production bonus, 15% mining bonus, and some other stuff, as you can see. So, one sec. Right, what was I saying? Yes, so mining is the other thing I should note. As you can see, we've got a certain amount of these materials on Earth, and it's much higher than base. I know some people like having to kind of rush out of Sol in order to gather materials. I like having a kind of solid start. Sound is a bit loud. Turn that down. How's the sound balance, chat? Does it seem alright? Seems like a more customizable Stellaris so far. Yeah, it's not dissimilar to Stellaris. I got you into it ages ago, Duke. Nice. I'll explain. I'll put... at some point, I'll do a video on how to use my submod, by the way. Because the game looking like this is much more pleasant, in my opinion. Anyway, so we have a certain amount of resources, right? And they're each used for different things, which I could rattle off, but won't. Corundium is one of the ones that's important early on, because it's what you use to make mines. And as you can see, right now, we're going to run out of corundium in 112 years at the current rate of extraction. But the rate of extraction is going to increase wildly. And you can see here that we have a certain amount and a certain amount of accessibility. If accessibility is 1, then you mine it at 100% normal speed. If it's 0.5, you mine it at half normal speed. Pretty simple, right? Accessibility drops as you mine stuff because you're mining out, the most easily accessible bits of it. And it will slowly trend down, and then eventually you will run out of each of these materials. So right now I see Brondide's fairly low. That's okay, Brondide's not that important. Uridium's a bit low. That's right, that's not that important. And our Macassium, that's used to build science stuff, is a pretty low accessibility. That's not great. Anyway, we're going to go turn automated turns back on, and you'll see as it ticks up here, we're going to fly through these until something actually happens that needs to pause it. Every single time you see these planets move, that's another 5 days This is not the kind of pace that you tend to travel through the game later on. So you can see the game has paused automatically, and we've got a red pop-up here. I've set the colors on these. Actually, yeah, so I'll share various things in the description and comments of this video. One thing is a CSV file you can use to set your colors up for events the way I have them. I do think they work well like this. The other thing I'm going to do actually is, I don't care about commander experience, so let's hide that event. And new ground force officers, I don't care about that. And commander health, I don't care about that either. So we're going to hide those so they're not going to be flashing up all the time, because there's a lot of events around around commanders. Because if we look here, you can see that our little empire here with no ships, I remind you, has all of these people. These are like our, officers and what are they called? They're not called heroes in Stellaris, are they? Anyway, these are all the people right now that are working in our empire. You've got a bunch of vice admirals, rear admirals, commanders, lord captains, commanders, etc. And we have some captains, majors, generals. We don't have any war masters right now. And we have a bunch of scientists. But right now they're not really doing anything, so I just don't care about them. I'm going to hit automated assignments up here in the top right, which means it should just mostly handle it for me. Now you can see we've got one research lab available, so I'm going to stick that onto Trans-Newtonian technology. And away we go. New naval officer is still popping up. I should turn that off. New administrator. I'm going to hide that event. You would micro the heck out of those events. You played the first 3 days in Terra in real time, trying to parse all the information. You don't need to. You really don't need to. Once you actually have a fleet, it's more sensible. But until then, you really don't need to. One thing I'm going to do, I think, is actually make some more military academies. Like right now, how many military academies do we have? You start with 1, I think. Yeah, let's build another 4. It's quite expensive. And we're going to put 100% of our industry towards doing that. No, let's make 3. Then it's going to stop at about the same time as our research is done. Yeah, and we'll put that extra lab on here. Okay, so we're going to have 3 more military academies, which is going to essentially give us plus 300% to the number of different... what are they actually called in the game? Commanders, the number of commanders that we get, which includes scientists as well as naval commanders and stuff, which is going to be good. Holy crap, Aurora isn't bright blue anymore. I modded it. And by I modded it, I mean I took someone else's mod and I tweaked its colors to my liking, with their help. But yes, no, the old color is very oppressive, in my opinion. One thing I'm lacking on mods is that I really like the ability to have the background color here be different to the background color here, which I can't make happen at the moment. But yeah, I'll share my mods so that you can run them yourself. Right, so yeah, research facilities done, so we've got 2 more on that. Unpause. And I would still like to hide, yeah, new naval officer. Hide that event, if you would. And retirement, I don't care about that. Okay. Cool. The continual capacity task for our shipyards is completed. So we've got our civilian shipyard is up to 50,000 tons. We might want to go higher than that. I forget what I tend to do with my first hauling ship, but we'll let's add another slipway first. It's not going to take long at all. Well, 3 years, pretty bad, but yeah, we're going to add another slipway, which means right now this has 1 slipway and 50,000 capacity. That means it can build ships up to 50,000 size, and it can build 1 at a time. Put another slipway on, we're essentially doubling the size. Now you should be careful with just making these massive, because you can afford to make your shipyards massive, but they do start employing a lot of people. Like right now 1.5 million people work in them, but once you have like 5 shipyards with 10 slipways each, it starts to employ a lot of people. So something to bear in mind. What version is this? This is 2.2, I think. Let me check that for you. I should have mentioned that at the beginning of the video. It's a good call out. Sorry, it's 2.1, I'm pretty sure. I should be careful about pulling up my file structure on screen here. I don't think there's anything too incriminating in my bar here. You're going to know that I overclocked my Ryzen. No, that's okay. Yeah, my internet is not working very well, probably because I'm streaming. I believe it's, yeah, we're playing on 1.1. 1.2 is the upcoming version. Okay, so take it away. You can see the research points remaining for this technology are a dropping. They're dropping at 1/5 regular speed, of course, because we're playing on 20% research speed. Yeah, we can just watch the planets spin about their merry way, which is always nice. New scientist. You know what? That's something we should actually check. Did we happen to get any construction production scientists yet? No, we did not. Shame. Shipyard modified, 5,000 tons of capacity added to our naval shipyard. Let's add a slipway to that as well. Oh yeah, so we also have this tool called Auto Marvin, by the way, which if we save right now, should update. So here it is. Every time you save, it takes like a data point, basically, into Auto Marvin. So I should save more often. And we can see lots of things in here. We can see different amounts of different resources over time. We can see amount of research per population. We can get some overviews, see some populations. We can see ship designs. We can see all kinds of things in here. Our maintenance supplies over time, our fuel over time. And we can open this multiple times, which I tend to do, to have minerals, fuel, maintenance supplies, and wealth all on one screen. It has a horrendous tech tree. Look at this monstrosity. But it's kind of beautiful as well. But yeah, I tend to just leave it on minerals, and then I'm going to put it... Oops. Just mess with OBS. I'm going to put it over on one of my other screens. I guess I'll put this... I'll put it over here. Okay. Away we go. So we should be getting... Yeah. About another minute, and then we'll have our trans-Newtonian materials research done, and that's when we start kicking things off. Trans-Newtonian technology, a science team led by Saul Thule. Saul Thule, by the way, is a complete badass in the Warhammer world, but that shit looks like a Department of Defense PowerPoint. Yeah, I mean, it's all... This whole game is based on like a massively over-engineered Windows database, and it's been built by one guy over like many years. So the fan-made stuff for it especially is hugely kind of janky looking, but that's all part of the charm as far as I'm concerned. So we've got trans-Newtonian technologies, which unlocks all kinds of other things. So to start off with, let's begin working on some power and propulsion. I would love to have someone invent a better power plant, which then we can then use to invent a better engine, so that we don't have to use some conventional engines. I'm going to skip like the first 3 engines probably. Then what else do we need? I would like to be able to build sector commands, so I think I will do that. A sector command is like having a governor over multiple systems, and as soon as we get this, we can build one, and we only need to build one just to have a sector governor of Sol, which then means we can apply the bonuses to Sol. Okay, so yeah, those 2 are going to happen, and then once this is finished very shortly, we will change up what we're producing, because you can see we can convert conventional industry to construction factories, fighter factories, financial centers, fuel refineries, mines, ordnance factories, and we can convert mines to automated. So slipway added to the civilian one. I think we actually need another 10,000 tons capacity, so let's add another 10,000 tons, sorry. And there's the military academy construction completed. So we have 1,600 conventional industry. I think, and we're going to choose, like, what do we want to turn it into? See you, Duke. I'm going to convert straight up 800 of it into construction factories first, and then the fact that we have all these construction factories is going to let us build other stuff faster. So you watch our construction points here right now. We've got 5,000 after just 2,000 after just one day, one tick, 2 ticks. We're now up to 2,013. If you turn on auto tick, we're going to see that number start to skyrocket, because of course it is exponential, because the more construction capacity we have, I mean, look at that, we're already up to 3,000. The more construction capacity we have, the faster we generate more construction capacity. So we've researched our new engine. We're going to reinvent the... I actually don't know if I even want to invent this. I can't remember if you need to invent this But we're going to invent the pressurized water reactor, which will unlock the next tier. And we're probably only going to build ships with like the 4th tier of engines, because the ones below that are just too slow. Yeah, I'm going to need another slipway on this, because we're going to want to build a bunch of ships to haul around our resources. You can see the progress advancing over here on the right. I think we want probably 3 slipways on our naval thing. Let's get that going. Should probably name these. I tend to name them very kind of pragmatically, I guess. This is the survey yards, and this is going to be the freight docks. We're going to vary the second word for some interestingness and variety, but the yeah, and as you can see, we've converted less than half of our conventional industry to actual construction factories, and our production capacity has gone from 2 to 9,000, which is pretty crazy. There we go. We've got our... And yeah, the rate at which you get new techs will slow down dramatically. The fact that we're kind of flying through these ticks right now is mostly an early game thing. Yes, so I want... Yes, I think nuclear pulse engine is the one that I'm actually going to use. That tends to be the first one that I actually build. So we're going to invent the reactor for that, and then we're going to invent all the engines. Right. What if your racial wealth goes to nil? You start experiencing turmoil and increasing penalties on all your planets. They get worse and worse and worse. And high. They get it gets steadily worse, and you produce less and less and stuff. So what do we want to make? All right, so we want to make a bunch of it into mines. Let's make 500 into mines. And how much we got left? 800. So 500 to mines, maybe 100 to fuel refineries. Leaves us 200. So we'll put maybe. We need some ordnance factory. Well, no, we don't need ordnance factories early, honestly. So give me 200 to financial centers, and that will convert all the rest that we have. Cool. And yeah, mines. Conventional industry does some mining, but actual proper mines do it way better. And I should be remembering to save more often so that we can take a look at our changing minerals over time. What's the timeline of this game? It ends after 999 years, I believe, but you will never, ever get to that point. Oh yeah, I should mention, there's one other thing we set up. So I made it so there's a certain number of systems you need to have for various things to spawn. These are the defaults. I made them wildly higher because I'm a coward. So raiders, which are like kind of like pirates, will spawn once we have 20 known systems, once we've been in 20 systems. The Star Swarm will spawn once we've been in like 50, and the invaders will spawn when we have like 100 or something really high like that. I wanted them to kind of only get introduced a long way into the game, because I think I'm bad enough that they will just end the game, probably. So, yeah, it's like setting Crisis to happen a very long way away in Stellaris. Right, so we're still doing these researches, still converting stuff over to mines, and you'll see that our mining output is going to crank. Like right now we're mining 37,000, 38, 39, 40, 42, 43, 44, 45. When you convert early, it's one of the fastest like spikes that happens in the game. So we've done all our mines, now we're doing fuel refineries and commercial centers. And we should also keep an eye on our racial wealth. Is it going up or down? It's going down rapidly. So let's actually let's move the financial center production to the top of the queue and get that going. Our racial wealth is actually going to go... Oh, I just avoided it going negative. That was closer than I would have liked. You should never let it go negative. Can't see the numbers as the screen's too small, but you trust they're doing what I say. Yeah, fair enough. I know. I mean, I'm playing on a big screen. This game is much less fun on smaller screens, in my opinion. But so yeah, you will have to just take my word for it on some of the numbers. Okay. Yeah, we completed the financial center, and we're going back to the fuel refineries. And yeah, got to keep an eye on this number because we want it to be always going up. I don't think I want to add a 4th slipway to my my dockyards right now. We'll just stick with 3 for now. They can just sit idle. And we've done that. Okay, so we finished converting away all of our basic stuff. Now we just have 800 conventional industry, which gives us 10,000 build points. So, what would I like to build? We could build some more mines. You know, we've got a lot of resources on this planet to pull out of the ground. And nothing's going down on minerals right now, I don't think. Looks like Corbomite briefly went down when we were making mines, but... let's build ourselves another 200 financial centers, which is going to cost a bunch of stuff. We're going to use 24,000 Corbomite when we only actually have 18,000, but we'll mine some more in the time it takes to be done. We'll just stop it when it gets full, just because I don't want to have to worry about money. So let's build a bunch of new financial centers to help with our income. New scientists popped up. New scientists for biology and genetics, and we've added the shipyard. I think 3 shipyards for this is fine. Let's add another 2,000 tons capacity to our naval thing, though. I tend to build over large survey ships, I admit. How are we doing on coronium? Yeah, so we're producing it fast enough that I think we're just going to have enough. Looks like it's going to be close, though. And the pebble red reactor is done, which means it's time to do some engine tech. Get me a nuclear radioisotope engine invented, please. And once we've got improved command and control completed, we're going to start doing some survey techs, which will let us actually invent the modules we'll need to survey the solar system to find how much resources there are. So 10 free things, probably because our power and propulsion scientist died. Yes, indeed he did. Power and propulsion tech waits for no man, though. Actually, let's do the survey tech real quick. So I need geological survey sensors. And we do have a matching scientist for that. So he'll research that, and then we can, because we need to find which other planets. Yeah, a shortage of materials here. Let's modify this down to 0.5. Hopefully there'll be enough to get that done. Okay. Does this start just on Earth? Yeah, we're on Earth right now. We need to survey the other bodies in the solar system to find out where all the resources are. We're hoping for a lot on places like Mars and the Moon, if we're lucky, because they're really easy to colonize. But more likely, there'll be most of the resources in places like Titan and on comets and in the gas giants. So what do I want to build now? Yeah, the game does not have a Steam page. What you should do if you want to get into this game, I suggest, and I'll probably release this video if I make it, which I hope I will, probably before this one. But I'll make a video on how to install the game and how to use my mod, and the various utilities that you should download, and then you can then you can get into it. I wouldn't necessarily advise trying without a tutorial for how to download it properly. What do I want to build? I think some more mines is probably a good idea. How many mines do we have? Like 400? Give me another 400 mines. I know that's a lot, but we kind of might as well have mines banging away at our planet, getting all of this stuff out. And now you can see Verendite, the depletion time has already gone down to 22 years. And before that happens, we're going to start losing accessibility. So the improved command and control thing is done, which means I do want to push one sector command building to the top of the production queue so we can actually get a sector commander over Sol. And then what else is going to be needed really early on? Isn't there a logistics thing I need? Too large. No, we've already got a lot of small, normal size cargo bay done. Trying to think what is there in here that I strictly need. I don't think I need any of that really early on. Right, troop transport bays. It's kind of expensive though. We don't need it yet. Not going to do any energy weapon stuff early on. Let's get a mining production tech done. train up this logistics guy a bit. And you want to have multiple techs going at once because your scientists get better when they're researching. And we do need to keep going on this engine tech. Cool. English only or other languages too? I believe it's English only. There's no localizations for this mod. This game, I'm afraid. Alright, I'm pretty sure. Could be wrong. Alright, sector governor is done. So now we need to go to the sector screen. This one, the Sol sector. You can see here, we're going to assign Sol to it. There you go. And then if we go in here and we search our civilian administrators for someone who can have like level 5 admin rating or above. And why is this not coming up properly? Do I have to click somewhere? I'm confused. Do I have to click one of these? No? What am I forgetting? Is it because no one... Ah, right, yeah, you have to click on them. That's right, that's right. Okay, so if we're looking at people with sectors here. So sectors is A5, which means it requires someone of admin level 5 in order to govern it. We've got the one on Earth, and we've got this guy. This guy seems better, actually. So we'll assign Abelia Septimus to the Sol sector. And now we have, you know, a whole bunch of extra bonuses that are going to make a huge improvement to the Sol sector. 30% shipbuilding is kind of nutty. Cool. And then we're just going back to building mines. Geological research centers is done. Give me just a bunch more on the nuclear isotope engine. And then also we actually want yet more people on power production. So I want to build a larger engine than this on my first ships. So give me this guy. Getting me the ability to make a larger engine size. So yeah, it's not just about inventing new levels of engine. Or just stopped getting researched. So my other nuclear production, power and propulsion one, it was. It's not just about engine size, you know, engine tech level. You have to invent like higher and lower power modifiers, power plant boosts, how much fuel they use, the capacity recharge rate, the size of the engine, and all these things go into giving you a lot of freedom to design your ships. 2,000 tons added to survey shipyards. Right, that can just lay idle for a while now. Yeah, wealth is still ticking up nicely. We are looking slightly troubling on Verendite. We're pulling that out of the ground pretty quickly. We're not using too much of it though. New logistics scientist. There's the nuclear thermal engine. Start research on that. And yeah, we're as I said, we're completely powering through the years right here. This is not the norm. Once we get into claiming, there's a lot more stuff going on. You spend all day at work staring at a spreadsheet. It's weird how you enjoy your free time watching another one. Yep. No, I know. I mean, here's my spreadsheet of Aurora 4X data and planet designations, which I set up to like designate names for different things, and you know, have like a prefix and then a planet designation suffix, and like, yeah, I'm all in. I'm all in on this game. Production of mines finished on Earth. Good, so we're up to 900 mines. You know what? Make it an even 1,000 for me, please. We should probably make some automated mines as well, which is what we're going to carry out to the other planets out here in the solar system. But yeah, not ready for those yet. Going to need some better engines before we can get out there. But with an engine and a survey module, I think we have all we need now. Because it's the nuclear pulse engine we're going to build, which will be done in 8 years. Got sensor and controls guy, and we still don't have any construction production guys, no. So in 8 years, we can build our first ship. Well, we can design the parts for our first ship, because you have to design the parts. Oh, I just saw a power and propulsion scientist. Nice. Let's cancel this project. And then we can have a guy with an actual bonus do it. Oh, we have 2 of them now. Nice. You stop that. You can get on it. Good. So we're making you want to play NetHack. I haven't played NetHack. Is that good? NetHack. NetHack game. Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah. No, I have seen this. I'm pretty sure I've seen this game. Is it fun? I've never actually played it. What's the other game that's kind of like NetHack? It's like it's called like the survival of something. Anyway, our population has gone up by 50%, by the way, as you will note. I can't remember what rate we're increasing at on Earth. I think our pop growth is, I think it's 2%. I think population growth bottoms out at 2%. I forget where you see that. Population, annual growth rate, 1.87% annual growth rate on here. Cataclysm? Yeah, that's right. Alright, we've got mining, production, research done. Do we have any construction and production scientists yet? Yes, we do. Good. Let's do... So as you can see, there's loads of these techs that give you just substantial bonuses to all kinds of things. Research rate up. Seems like a good pick. Let's get that. And yeah, it's like a 20% bonus right out of the gate. Most of the techs are a 20% bonus relative to the initial starting point. And there's the nuclear pulse engine. I do want the larger engine size before we actually invent this. So let's, oh, it's only 30 points left. So that'll be done in no time at all. Okay, so now we have the tech we need. We can start looking at creating a project. So here is our engine design project. We want to design an engine. This is the first engine that we're ever going to call. What should we call it? The Finder. I don't know. The first ship. Should we call it the Apollo engine? The Apollo nuclear pulse engine. And it's going to be as large as we're allowed to make it, which is 40 hull size. And it's going to use 50% engine power to conserve fuel. It's only going to have 160 engine power. That's really bad. It's only going to use, as you can see, fuel consumption per engine power hour. It's only going to use 0.088 litres per engine power hour, which is pretty good. Which is, one engine power output for 1 hour. And it's going to consume, 1 litre of fuel. We're not going to reduce the thermal signature. This is one of the ways that you find enemy ships is through their thermal signature. They have thermal signatures and passive signatures. And you have to control for those various things on your ships, which is really cool. Very, very, very cool system. And yeah, it's a nuclear pulse engine, which is the 4th tech. The Apollo thing, create it. And now what you do is you go into research. And you refresh the screen. And you research it. So it's going to cost 400 to actually research being allowed to build this this new engine, which we'll now do. And there we go. We've finished inventing it, and now we can actually build a ship. So here we go. Here are all the different components we currently have invented to put on ships, and you can make more of them. And we want to go with the wide view on here. So, it's not a freighter we're making, it's a new ship class, and we are making a survey ship. Where is it? Survey ship, an SS. Sorry, not a survey hunter. Survey cruiser? No, cruisers would be larger. This is just a survey vessel, sure. And you can see it's auto-generated, like some basic stuff here. It's got a certain amount of conventional steel armor, it's got a bridge, it's got some crew quarters, engineering space, and fuel storage. So we're going to put this engine on it. Which means, and the engine, as you can see, has a hull size of 2,000 tons. So it's added 2,000 tons to the size of the ship. But now the ship can go at 2,537 kilometers per second. Pretty good. Pretty good. Remember, though, we're in space. This place is big. The distance between Earth and the Sun right now is 150 million kilometers. It's going to take a while to get anywhere when we're going at this pace, but it's not bad. It's got bad armor. It's got 19 pieces of one thick armor. The 19 is just a product of how large the ship is. and this is you can change the armor rating. So right now it's got 1 layer thick armor. If we make this 10, then suddenly it's a 94,000 ton vessel because it's got 185 pieces of 10 thick armor. Like it's a lot. So we'll go back down to 1 layer of armor. This ship should not be being shot at. If it's shot at, we did something very, very wrong. Now we want it to be deployed. This is how long is this ship intended to be out in the void of space for? So I reckon we should make that 24 months. And by setting that to 24, it's automatically increased the size of the crew quarters. This is the amount of extra crew space it's going to need for making it kind of livable for people that are going to be on it for that long and storing enough food and things like that. But we also want to put a geological survey sensor. I should obsolete this component. Geological survey sensors on it. And we're going to put 2 on it. That means it can generate 2 survey points per hour. Now those are heavy, and they make it a military vessel. It's designated as a military vessel for maintenance purposes, despite the fact that it has a commercial engine. Having a survey sensor makes it a military vessel. That means you have to worry about its deployment time, and you have to worry about its maintenance. So we can see right here, it has a maintenance life of 0.9 years. It has maintenance supplies of 51. Now what we want to do is make it so that it has enough maintenance supplies to, because you need to kind of, over time, various parts of this ship, of these parts here, will break, right? Most notably the engine. And you need to be able to repair it, otherwise you're going to be stuck hundreds of millions of kilometers away from any planet, completely unable to move, which is not great. So what we're going to do is we're going to put on probably some small engineering spaces. Maybe some full-on engineering spaces. And some maintenance storage, like a regular maintenance storage bay. There. Now that's slowed it down. But now it has a maintenance life of 6 years, which is overkill, but it tends to be a good idea to overkill on maintenance, in my experience. That might be too much. Maybe you take off one of the engineering spaces. And maybe we don't use a maintenance storage bay. Maybe we just use a small maintenance storage bay. 2 small maintenance storage bays, I think, would be sufficient. 2.4 expected years, but the thing is, when it has a deployment time of 12... Actually, you know what we'll do? Let's lower the deployment time. Well... Yeah, let's lower the deployment time to 20 months, 18 months. That way, what we'll do is we'll tell the ship once you've reached 18 months, in space, go home and restock, which means we're not going to get to our 2.5 year expected maintenance life. Now things can go wrong, and you could end up with a ship that's meant to last 2.5 years that doesn't, right? But this should be. I think that should be all right. It's going to take, as you can see, 0.9 years to build it, but something else we should check. So we're going 2,045 kilometers per second now, and it's got a range of 26 billion kilometers, which will take it 147 days at full power. So that 26 billion kilometers is like a lot, right? that can get us to the edge of the solar system and back. So it seems like a lot. But remember, the ship's probably going to go, here to here, then here to here to here, then here to here, then here to here. It adds up. So let's increase that slightly by putting another fuel storage on it and increasing that to 51.3 billion kilometers of range. And then I am a subscriber to the idea that ships should have specific sizes. So 3,973, what are you talking about? That's unacceptable. Add a tiny engineering space to slightly increase that, and then maybe a small fuel thing. No, that's too big. A fighter fuel thing. Yeah, we'll add a couple of more fuel. Now it has exactly 4,000 tons size. How pleasing. How intellectually pleasing. And so that's what we're going to call it. But it needs a name. What I tend to do with my ships is that I have a particular name list, which you'll see what that is in a minute, which I use to name each class of vessel. So for example, survey vessels, we're going to select a name. All my survey vessels are named after, I've forgotten, which are they? Is it animals I tend to call them after? No, it's not animals. What did I use for not Aztec gods? Which do I normally use to name? Albatross, the ones I use for fuel harvesters. Books of the Bible is what I use for freighters. I can't believe I've forgotten what I tend to use. I could always check on a previous game. Is it Angels and Demons? Which of these name lists seems suitable for a exploration ship, chat? Could go with Battlestar Galactica episode names. I can't believe I've forgotten what I use. Is it something that's lower in the list? I know as soon as I see it, I'll get reminded. What is it? What is the first one normally called? I can't believe I've forgotten this. Empire ships, Europe. Sure, you know what? Our survey vessels will be named after places in Europe, starting with Aachen. So the Aachen class survey vessel, she stands at 4,000 tons with a deployment time of 18 months and a maintenance life of 2.97 years. It has thin armor, requires a morale check. It can go at exactly 2,000 kilometers per second. Great. And now, if I haven't done anything wrong, which I hope I haven't, we go to our shipyards. We selected this one, and as it turns out, we made this bigger than it needed to be, twice the size it needed to be. And we retool to this particular class, because shipyards can only produce classes that they are retooled to, or classes that are within a certain degree of variation from the thing that they're tooled to produce. The first retooling of a ship, of a one, is free. Future ones cost stuff. And we can construct... and the thing I tend to do is if we create a new... We're going to create a new admin under here, which is the shipyard. And then under shipyard... Don't show civilians. Under shipyard, we're going to create a fleet, and we're going to call this One Earth Shipyards. And then, whoops, if we go in here, we're going to construct it to, let me refresh this page, to One Earth Shipyards. And because we put one at the front, it will always be at the top of the list. So yes, I want to create, construct, class, construct the SV Archons. I want 3 of them, and it will build them. And then, using this tech, we may also want to design a freighter. So a freighter, obviously, designed to do very different things. It's going to need to have a standard cargo hold. It's 25,000 tons it can hold on a standard cargo hold, which happens to be the size of most buildings. So one construction factory, one mine, all kinds of other things. Not everything, but most things, is 25,000 tons. So we're going to put one cargo hold on it. Then we're going to put one cargo shuttle bay, maybe 2, which is how you move things on and off them at certain speeds. Have we started asteroid mining? Not yet. We're building our first freighter. We just built our first survey vessel. Also, I don't tend to mine asteroids much early on. We'll see how we look once we've surveyed them. And here's our engine. And this ship, I tend to want to run my civilian ships at least 1,000 kilometers a second early on, but we are going to burn a lot of fuel if I do that. And these need shorter range. 21 billion. What's let's say, I mean, our first vessel doesn't necessarily have to go to the edge of the solar system and back, but let's say they wanted to go to Uranus and back. They need at least 10 billion range. Well, actually, sorry. It's important to remember you want to do it from the furthest point of Earth's orbit if they're trying to go back and forth. Yes, they want about 12 million range to be safe. So we're going to put 25,000 liters of fuel on these things. And freighters, I know the naming list I use for them. Freighters get named after books of the Bible. So this is going to be the Amos class freighter. And because it's a commercial vessel, as you can see here, we don't need to worry about its deployment time. We don't need to worry about its maintenance at all. And it's only 41,000 tons. Nice. This engine does kind of suck, but it should be fine. And it doesn't need officers, and it's a conscript ship, which means don't put anyone qualified on my freighters. Don't waste any of my dudes who actually know what's what on my freighters. And now we will go over to our shipyards, and we will assign this one to the freighter Amos. And then we will construct 3 freighter Amoses. 1,000 kilometers a second, pretty slow, but not too bad for a freighter. It's just going to slowly, trundle back and forth, dropping stuff off. Okay, so then research-wise, we still need better. You always need better engines, and I think what I'm probably going to do right now is an even lower engine power modifier, so we can conserve fuel on our freighters. Okay, let's go. And then after like a year, we'll have built our first survey vessels, and we can go out and start exploring the galaxy. That's not great, is it? Let me turn off. Let me turn off my on-screen notifications for WhatsApp while I'm streaming my screen. That could have gone badly. Okay, so we built 3 Amoses. Let's not build more in case I've made some critical construction error in those ships. We're just going to keep them for now. And there's nothing we want to actually send anywhere right now. So we built 3 Archon ships, and as you can see, it's automatically promoted 3 people to captain, and it's put them in charge of each of these different vessels. One thing we should also want to do actually is... Wait, what did I do? Why am I building hundreds of naval headquarters? Jesus Christ. What do naval headquarters even do? What am I doing? Aren't they the ones that generate... No, naval headquarters are the ones... Which are they? Oh yeah, it's for admin commands. Oh my god, we just wasted so many materials. Jesus Christ. Naval headquarters are the ones that allow you to use these things. So these are administrative commands. So this one is a general one, just for headquarters, but we'll make another one now under the human navy. This is the survey command. And if we put the survey command under here, and then we're going to make that a survey one. And now this has certain bonuses to engineering and survey tasks. And I've just built 74 survey commands, which is mental. Because you need 1 survey command to go 1 jump away from your current planet. So that's 2 jumps. That's 3 jumps. That's 4 jumps. That's 5 jumps. We can go 6 jumps from our planet right now on this stuff that I just built by mistake, basically. Right, so here are Archon ships. And we can see them here. We can see then, no deployment time, no maintenance time racked up. They've got a small thermal signature, smallish anyway. So we're going to detach them, and we're going to put them under survey. And we're going to give them some orders. So standing orders for these ships. And this is the way that you interface with your ships, is with these movement orders and standing orders. Yeah, overbuild till you run out of it. Exactly, until we run out of resources. Yeah, but I don't want to run out of resources. The headquarters for the Navy? Yeah, it's a good point, Toast. It's a good point. So these ships are going to survey the nearest body. That's their primary standing order. And if their fuel is less than 50%, then they should return... where is it? Refuel at colony. And if their deployment is exceeded, if they've been out there for more than 18 months, they should return, refuel, and overhaul at the nearest colony. Isn't there a refuel and resupply? I forget. Doesn't look like it. Anyway, it shouldn't matter. So yeah, if their deployment's exceeded, they go back for an overhaul. That's where they get everything checked out and do dockyard maintenance rather than at sea or in space maintenance, I guess. And then what I'm going to do is going to have them go to Earth and divide into single ships. And if we go 5 seconds, you can see now that if I refresh this, you can see it's now split them out and named each fleet after each ship. And now each ship, you can see this one has 2.25 survey because it's getting a bonus from its captain. And we can also see if we take a look at Earth, we can see that these ships or these fleets show on the map. And if we go a little while, I forget how long. How regularly do standing orders get applied? Survey nearest body is the right one, isn't it? Yeah. Is it every day? Is it every 5 days? When does standing orders get applied? Oh, okay, there we go. They've all gone. Oh, I guess, what event have I hidden? I must have hidden a... Oh, no, it's not showing there at all. Interesting. I thought it said, like, according to its standing orders, it's going out to explore. But anyway, you can see that our ships have suddenly flown around the world, and they're all off. Like, Aachen 003 is surveying Venus, Aachen 002 is surveying Lumen, and Aachen 001 is surveying Cruithne, rather. Cruithne being Earth's second moon. I think there's 4 moons. How many moons does Earth have? How many moons does Earth have? I think it's 4. No, the answer is not 1. Google. Cruithne is one of them. Although the moon is Earth's only natural satellite. No, it isn't. What are you talking about? Yeah, okay, some are mini moons. Yeah, alright, whatever. A mini moon is just a moon by any other name in my book. Near Earth asteroids. There's Cruithne, but there's another one. At least one other one. Anyway, doesn't really matter. So we're surveying, and we found a resource deposit. Aachen 002, under the command of Captain Mikhail Taurus, has discovered minerals. 1900 deuterium, 961 corbamite, and 600 tritanium. Not very exciting, but there's some resources out here on Hebe, and there, you can see these ones with circles, these ones they've already done. Now, one that I'm interested in, Flat Earth has more moons, I get it. Look, look, Cruithne is a thing. Hang on, I'm gonna vindicate myself. Cruithne is an asteroid that, relative to the Earth... Oh, hang on, maybe this is not the one I'm thinking of. Because this does orbit... Oh, come on, that... Cruithne's not a moon. It doesn't orbit the sun. I mean, it doesn't orbit the Earth, it orbits the sun. Well, I guess it could be said to be doing both, actually. Check this out. Look at this weird-ass orbit this thing has. That's a really, really weird orbit. Like, this is it. This is Cruithne, right? And yellow is relative to, its movement relative to the Earth. That's really, really bizarre. But yeah, I mean, if it's going around like that, you know, everything... This is the kind of comment that sounds weird again, but, you know, everything kind of orbits everything else. So, you know, the sun orbits the Earth in the same way that the Earth orbits the sun. It's just the point, you know, they both orbit the common union of their gravitational points. That is a weird orbit right there. What's it called? The union of gravitational orbital motion. What's it called? Is it a Lagrange point? Is that the one I'm thinking of? Points of equilibrium. No, that's not what I'm thinking of. Understanding orbits. No, I'm talking about orbital bodies. Like if you have one body orbiting another. They orbit around an object or position in space. But the thing is, they all orbit around position in space. Resonance orbit? Earth's orbit. Earth's orbit. Takes a certain amount of time. Barycenter. Okay, there. Barycenter. So what actually, you know, you obviously say Earth orbits around the sun. But it's not strictly true. Earth and the sun both orbit their respective barycenter, which is the midpoint of the mass of those two objects, which is inside the sun, but it's not the sun. I'm thinking of the barycenter. Anyway, let's go another day forwards, and I'm very excited to see what we find on Venus. Very hopeful to get some good stuff on Venus. We've got nothing on the moon, which is bad, but we're hoping something good on Venus. We're hoping something good on Mercury, because they're both, you know, nearby. And we've got the engine modifier done. Give me larger engines again, I think. Actually, no, give me better fuel consumption. All right, what do you get? Oh, Venus has lots of stuff. Venus has, well, okay, it has a fair amount of stuff. Oh, look at all that Macassium. Jackpots. So this is the minerals screen. And we can see that Earth has, all this stuff. But Venus has, at 1 accessibility, it has 20 million Macassium. Which is pretty good. Pretty good. If we run some quick numbers here. 20 million Macassium is, oh no, that's Eve. Don't open Eve. No, don't open Eve. Close. I don't think I can close it until it's actually opened now. This is the downside of screen capture. It'd be really bad if I was trying to hide like who my alts were on Eve, huh? Fortunately, I'm not. Anyway, 20 million divided by 1,200. That's enough for 16,713 science labs. Pretty good. Because Venus is almost impossible to colonize because it just has so freaking much stuff on it. If we create a colony on it, we'll be able to see here. If I refresh this screen. So Venus is very difficult to colonize because it has 86.745 atmospheres, 1 atmosphere being the total amount of gas by pressure on Earth. It has 90 times the entire atmosphere of Earth just in carbon dioxide, which is not great because it results in, first off, a massive temperature. So the maximum temperature on this thing is 629 degrees Celsius. It also results in 23 atmospheric pressure, which is a little high. It's a little high, so it's a bit hard to put humans on Venus. But yeah, there's a low chance for a ground survey, which means there might be even more resources than that. But this is, that is a great find. That's a really great find. And 3 million duranium rather is pretty good too. 0.0 accessibility is not very interesting, but that's sexy right there. All right, keep it going. Let's see what else we got out there. Wolf Harrington has some Newtonium. Did Mercury have nothing? Damn. That's bad. Nothing on Mercury, nothing on Luna. That hurts. Some stuff on Bromley. Some stuff around the place. But yeah, it's big planets that you want to get hits on. Nothing on Mercury sucks. Mercury's really easy to terraform. Relatively speaking, anyway. Yeah, getting some stuff. A few things here and there. A little bit of duratanium on Wolf. That's pretty good. But hey, the Macassium is a good find, even if that is unlucky. We've got finished on liters of fuel usage per hour. Let's do that again. Cool. Okay, so we found our first bits of material, and yeah, I think that more or less is going to bring us to the end of part 1. It's been an hour and a bit. I'm probably going to do hour-long episodes in this series. I am going to continue the series on YouTube. I will stream some of it. I won't stream some other bits of it. But yeah, remember, I'm going to have a video that comes out before this one, which will explain to you how you can get the mod working, get the game working, all that kind of stuff. So if you want to try the game, and you absolutely should, there'll be info there. If you have any questions about you don't understand how to do something, there are some great tutorials on YouTube, and please do ask it in the comment section. I am very happy to help. It's a brilliant game, and I'd love it if more people played it and enjoyed it. I will see you all next time. Thanks for watching.